Hey everybody, it's Mark here and welcome back to Digi Profits. We've got quite an interesting video for you guys today, especially if you happen to be somebody who plays DeFi Kingdoms. So for those of you that do, like myself, you'll be asking yourself, why did the Joule price drop? And are we bullish now? And in this video, I want to cover a lot of the stuff that caused the Joule price to drop to an alarming rate, but also look at the bullishness of this token going forward. So let's have a look. Firstly, here's a screenshot from my video a few days ago where I was showing my 3 buy-in targets for Joule, and I had a buy-in target of $2.67, as you can see there. I had another one at $2.04, and another one at $1.26. Because we actually went so fast through the $2.67 one, I didn't even get into buying there as I meant to, and I just left it to see if we rose back, and we didn't. But also, once I saw the news coming out about it, I thought, oh, wait. So most of my buy was actually made at $1.26, which was perfect because we held $1.26 for a good maybe 8 hours there. It was quite a while. We dipped down to $1.23 for like minutes at times. Then we'd fling back up to $1.26. It held perfectly, which was fantastic. So yeah, most of my buy was right there. So that's taken my average buy-in position to quite a low rate, around about the $2 mark, which puts me still in profit because I now have more Joule anyway from actually playing the game and so forth anyway, from the Joule that I purchased previously. So, you know, that's the key. You never go all in with this stuff anyway. So I first bought at $16, but I only bought what would now be maybe, I haven't done the calculation, it might be 2% of my initial position because I knew that we were at that phase where it looked like we're in a blow off top. But I didn't want to wait in case it kept going, and I wanted to be able to play the game and learn more about it. But my thinking at that time was, I've already caught the top, but I still want to understand what's going on further. I want to be able to get a couple of heroes, just understand the game, and then I'll worry about doing my main buy-in position when we are at another target rate, which for me was $4. So that's where most of my next buy-in was at. So you want to have targets like that when you enter into a coin. Never buy the top or right in the euphoria phase. Or if you do, buy a tiny position, just enough so that you can understand the project, but not enough so that you're thinking to yourself, oh, we're going to go another 10x from here, because that's very, very rare. And only if you catch a Bitcoin wave, like it goes to its all-time high or something like that. So anyway, we dollar cost average, and we're still wondering in this video, why did we drop to that rate? I mean, I didn't really expect it would go to that rate, but there was a final thing that happened that caused it to go from $2.04, which looked like it was going to hold there, to really down to that rate. So I'm just jotting a note down to make sure I mention that in my video, because I forgot to put it in my slides here. But I will mention that final drop. Why did that happen as well? I better make sure I mention that. Okay, so first of all, I'll just show you that I'm not just talking crap here. I am in the game. I am in the game. So I think that it's a good idea that you see me go ahead in the game right now and actually go ahead and go into the professions. I mean, you can see I'm not an early investor. If I was an early investor, I would have a ton of locked Joule. Okay? I would have a lot of locked Joule right there. I am not an early investor. I'm a later investor, but I've obviously got large amounts in my liquidity, or I would not be able to go and just get a gardener to go in there. And, if I collect one of my heroes, I collect a couple of them in front of you, you'll see the amount of Joule that they get. It's an indication of the size of my liquidity. So, I'm not telling you to go buy this coin, by the way. I'm just talking, if you are an investor already, that, I'm still staying in it. And I'm looking at this almost like this is a bit of a reset and a chance for me and some of the other people to get in at a low price for the long term. I'm not saying it won't go lower. If Bitcoin crashed to 30K, we'll see a lower price probably if Bitcoin had a crash. And then that's another opportunity. So that's why you never go all in and you just edge your way in. But look, 7 Joule, from a hero quest. I mean, imagine if the price went back to $5, that would be $35. Right now, it's only about, I don't know what that is, $12 or something, but it's still something, I'll collect another hero, so it's not just one hero getting this sort of price action. Grab this one over here. And I've got different qualities of heroes as well. I'll probably have to talk about that in another video at some stage, so you know what to look for if you want your gardeners to do better for you, but that's not what this is about. And I'm just showing you this as evidence that you're listening to someone that's not just making up videos based on not being in the game. 6.37, so he's obviously a lower statted hero than the other one. But a lot of them that I have are like, in fact, I've only got a couple to claim because it's only been the last 8 hours since I last claimed. So, I've got less to claim over there. I won't worry about claiming a miner. I'll get 1.3 or so Joule if I claimed a miner, but I want to get on to the rest of the video. I will show you the gardens. I'll go do a quick harvest or view harvest. I won't claim it right now, but 101, and that's only in the last 8 hours or so. So that's pretty good, right? For unlocked Joule, and then it would add 45 to my locked Joule. Okay, so I'm just showing you that I'm not going to share with you stuff that I'm not doing myself. And if I'm wrong, then I'm equally, I'm exposed as much as anybody else is anyway. Anyway, let's carry on. And I want you to know that this video is not about trying to sell people on DeFi Kingdoms. It's just literally to provide information about what happened and just to give you my sort of analysis of why I did purchase at this, more at this price point, for instance, and obviously at the $4 mark and so forth. And I am price match buying more on the way up at the moment because and when I say price match buying, I mean I harvest my Joule, I grab my Joule, and then I add the same amount worth of USDC. I just buy one with that, and I add that back into my liquidity pool. So I'm buying more Joule at the same rate that I'm also gaining it. Okay, so let's have a look at the wider macro, because I still believe that the number one reason why Joule had its initial start to the downtrend, the number one reason why it started this here was a Bitcoin dump. Okay, it was probably, if that sketchy point there at the top there, if we were going to blow through, it needed Bitcoin to pump. It needed Bitcoin at that point, needed to surf a bit of a Bitcoin wave because it had exhausted the Crystal Veil launch phase, and that was likely to drop a little bit, but it dropped a lot more because it went with the wider markets and so forth. Okay, so the wider markets are looking dicey right now. That is why the moment things look a little bit dicey, bang, they're all out of their all. A bunch of people are taking profits on altcoins as well at that point. So this is, and I've got a few of these graphs are not mine. Some of these are taken from TradingView, from other ideas, from other people that are very smart and savvy at over at TradingView. Just to let you know, so feel free to go look over there as well if you want to see the different ideas that some people have. Some of what I've got to share with you is my own as well. But again, like the markets, if we lose support at this level, and it's very, very strong support there. I mean, you look at it, we've tested it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, testing it for a 6th time and getting a little bounce right now. It may hold, all right? Support in the past has often held when we thought it may not, thought it might not here. Tested once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. It did hold and it went up from there. So you don't know that it's definitely not going to hold, especially when we're around this 50% line here. It may hold, okay? But the bearish scenario is that maybe a little bounce, but it doesn't hold. It goes to here, all right? The thing is, it went to here this time below the line because we had COVID. I mean, COVID is something that the markets didn't know what to do with COVID. We were perhaps on our way up to here, or at least on our way to here, but that happened. COVID, but then bang, it came straight back up with a vengeance for those that bought in here, all the way down. So the people that get the richest are the people that buy the most in the bearish periods. And that also coincided with Bitcoin dropping, but then going up from 3K to, for the first time, up to 64K. Okay, so, you know, in fact, it was 64K more around here. Okay, and then it got to 68K around here. After its drop, which was independent of the market there, the wider market. So that's the bearish scenario. I'll look at a bullish one soon, but this macro stuff, I mean, like, okay, here's a bullish way of looking at it, is that it could go hold support, and be on its way up on another Elliott wave. If you know anything about Elliott wave patterns, they go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 motions like that, usually 3 ups, 2 downs, 3 ups, 2 downs. You know, 1 up like that, and then it would go down and then up. And some people just believe, look, we're at the bottom of the RSI, we're oversold, and it's just going to go up. Some people think we're not quite at the bottom, it's going to crash lower, and it's going to hold support down there. So it's hard to say. There's arguments both ways. I mean, look at Bitcoin here. On this particular regression band, you can see, well, if you look at it this way, Bitcoin potentially could be about to drop all the way down to here, down to 18K is what this analyst is predicting. Okay, but the thing about technical analysis is that it is right 70% of the time until it's not. So quite often you see something happen once, twice, 3 times, and then it doesn't happen the 4th time. But then it happens again and again, and then it doesn't happen, and then it happens again. So if it happens 70% of the time, don't go all in thinking that anything is deterministic, that it must carry on in that fashion, but it can give you, that's why it gives you buy-in targets. Like here, there was no must about the $1.26, didn't have to go there, but because I'm factoring it in that it might, if crap hit the fan, that's what gives you the opportunity to buy in. Okay, and you that's why you never go all in, you want to edge your way into this stuff. Okay, so what about the bullish scenario? Well, the bullish scenario is saying that the wider markets and Bitcoin are actually, at the moment, while they were highly correlated up until recently, they are losing correlation. And hence, with this bullish divergence, that Bitcoin could even go up, even if the stock market goes down. There is that potential for that to happen because of the US dollar strength being at what some people see as a top right here. It could go higher. I mean, just because it didn't go higher here and here doesn't mean it's not going to blow through to here and before it comes down. But if this is the top and the US dollar strength starts to wane again, because even if they're doing, adding interest and interest rates and all that, it might already be priced in. And if people believe that the US dollar isn't the only place that they now want to store their money in because they've just sold a bunch of stock, then they're going to go to gold, and they might go to Bitcoin. And banks and other institutions may see Bitcoin as having long-term future as another store of value, and hence may keep dollar cost averaging in. And as we can see from the volume over here, there's a lot of volume. Every time it gets below and into that, below that 37.5K range, there's a lot of people wanting to eat that up and buy. It can wick down, but it can't seem to sit there for very long in those areas before it just gets scooped up. So it's quite possible that could just be a little wedge here, and then we're on our way up from here. And this market cycle may not actually be over. We may actually be in a scenario, and this is my little regression band here that I've done, where, like, looking at this logarithmic regression band, we're seeing that the bottom of the market cycle was here for this one before he went up. And in this case, it was here. We held the bear market here. COVID hit here. Haven't even hit the top yet, that white part yet. So it's potential that things have got a bit bearish on the wider market. And Bitcoin, though itself, it's being held by very, very, a lot of the wallet holders now are 1 and more year wallet holders. So there is a bit of a supply squeeze going on. It isn't impossible that it could go up and that the market cycle is not actually over yet, like we think it is, like some people think it is. Sorry, it may prove that it's not over. Much like this case here. Look at this. went to here. People thought the market cycle was over, but it hadn't hit this part yet. And what happened? Bang, went all the way to the top. Well, this here could be kind of the equivalent. You don't know. And look at the relative strength index. We are reaching near the bottom, so you could find, no, maybe we do have to dip down to 33k to hit that, or even 30k, maybe. But we may not get the cataclysmic 18k or something that some people are calling for. But again, we might. And that's why the moment there was any uncertainty, people went risk off, and there was a bit of a dump went on there. So just moving some of my notes here. So that's the wider market. There's ups and downs that could happen, but it could be bullish, or it might not be. That's the thing. It's at a phase where it was so clear that it was probably near the top. Well, relatively clear when it hit here the first time. It was almost like got there too fast. Look how high the RSI was there. Second time, not so clear. Some people thought, nope, this is where we're going to hit the top. We're going to go to 100k. Still, we didn't. But now that we're down here, it is very unclear. Could go either way based on a lot of factors in this world. So anyway, that is one of the reasons, the wider market. Okay, so Crystal Veil launched. And there wasn't much crystal available, so people wanted to mine it. So they bought Joule and XJoule en masse to go into the main liquidity pool because it was paying huge rates of crystal out. Most of it locked, of course, in the early epochs. There's increased rate. And people remembered what happened with Joule when people got in early there. Yes, it had an initial dip, but it came back with a vengeance when there were quests and heroes and stuff like that. So people wanted to buy liquidity, but there was a supply crunch relative to the amount of people wanting to play that game. So the price went bang, 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 bang. That went way up. But also Crystal, people trying to buy Crystal during the launch, that just went all the way up to $40, which was really crazy considering the developers have said they are going to be planning their tokenomics so that Joule and Crystal can be one-to-one eventually, based on price action, based on the price of the items and everything, like summoning costs, stuff like that are all going to be the same in Crystal as it is in Joule. So there'll be arbitrage opportunities available to get those prices more similar. So, I never bought Crystal then, I just farmed it personally in a liquidity pool over on Crystal Veil. Okay, so... But yeah, there was definitely that, because once it got too high and then people started selling their airdrops and they started panic selling as well and all of that, that drove the price of Crystal down, but it also caused people to take their liquidity out of the Joule XJoule pool, and it caused the price of Joule to drop as well. And then the rumors started. There was an incorrect rumor that Frisky Fox is master looter or forever hobbyist from LootSwap. And he addressed this very quickly. He wrote a 4-page document. He's been on YouTube and other places explaining this already. He was hired as a programmer in LootSwap before it started, and he did help build a gaming-centric DEX on Harmony. Like, before the project has started, how does he know how it's going to turn out? And he's hired as a programmer to build a gaming-centric DEX on Harmony. That was exciting to him. The thing is, the moment that the person who started LootSwap sold so much liquidity in the first few days of launch, he left the project right away. He didn't think that seemed right. He didn't like the way he thought it was going and thought, this isn't for me, I'm not going to take on any more work here. And remember, he was a minor player developer in that. But if you're part of a company and you have no idea where it's heading and you smell a rat, so to speak, and you leave, you shouldn't really be tainted too much by that, because he had no idea. And I think that, I take it at face value, because he's been very, very upfront the whole time. He's been... every week you see him on video, on YouTube, on the AMAs, and you always see him, well, not always, but I did see him quite regularly jumping in to the Discord group to address concerns actually chatting with us live in the Discord. So I think that was also a very, very good sign. Plus, another YouTuber that I know has met him in person and will vouch for him. So I kind of thought, well, that also sounds really good to me. And I loved hearing that the team also is committed to the project long term, and that they can handle if the price of Joule goes down a lot further. That was the concern. Some people thought, oh, if Joule goes to 50 cents, then the project's over. But no, I mean, the team's still all fine, even if it goes to 12 cents from what they were saying. So that's really good, because if they keep building this, it's inevitable it's going to do really well based on the tokenomics that I see. Okay, so, but anyway, that caused everyone to panic, because if he was master looter, and a lot of people were just posting this, and they were like, here's the proof, and they would show a screenshot of some Twitter person saying that they thought that it, and then they'd post a screenshot of some other Twitter person, and it was almost like the rumors were used as proof, like each bit of rumor was used as proof. So, it was a bit wrong. I know that he received something like 10 Joule or something from a former programmer from Master Looter or something like that. But, that's another programmer, not a part, or not an owner, so to speak, not the main guys behind it. That's a programmer, former programmer, who'd also left the project, who he had a few questions for or whatever. I don't see anything in that. I don't see that, some people like make a mountain out of a molehill the moment they see a singular little transaction go on. That, this is crypto. Stuff happens, but panic can set in over stuff that fundamentally isn't a problem. Now, the wrong address was listed in the white paper for the initial liquidity pool. That was a problem. I don't see... they definitely gave a good explanation for it. But I think that was a big mistake. And as a result, a lot of people lost trust because the wrong address was listed. So people, if they were watching the taxations on that address, now know it wasn't the correct one, meant that they didn't know how much is being sold. But afterwards, we find out that the 2 million Joule that was in that account is still there. It's still there, and they are strongly considering just burning it, which will then reduce the supply and pushes the price of Joule up. So that's the consideration there. They'll either burn it or perhaps use it as token rewards. But at the moment, that sounds like they're leaning towards burning it. So I think that's really great. Yes, the game was played with that money, so more money was made with that money. So there's locked Joule as well, and they're deciding whether or not that gets burned or used as something else, token rewards. Maybe that's how they pay their team later down the track when that unlocks. Who knows? But that was we always knew that was part of the unlock. We always knew that was there, as part of the locked Joule supply. So that's already priced in. Okay, so I think the big one was Frisky put it to a vote whether or not he should step down. The moment he announced that, people took that as whether or not he had the best intentions. I don't think he didn't have the best intentions, but I think it was naive. I think that people remember what happened with Phantom when just a couple of developers left and the price tanked. And I still think Phantom, I'm pretty bullish on that project. I've bought and sold at different points during the market cycle there, and I've got quite lucky there personally. Even recently selling at $1.65, and now it's at 70 cents, and now it's looking pretty possibly good to start dollar cost averaging back in again. But that's a side thing. But seeing the effect of that, people thought, well, if Frisky leaves here, if people vote him out, then what's going to happen? People are going to panic and the price will go down. So they thought, I'll get out now because this is what's happening. But luckily, when Frisky put it to the vote, everyone voted that he stays. So there was a lot of confidence in the community in him, luckily. But he put it to a vote a second time because he wanted the dust to settle a bit more and make sure people had ample opportunity to reconsider their decisions after other stuff, the Master Looter thing and all of that. Those rumors came out. Again, look at this, 93% voted for no change. So there's strong confidence in the community, that at least the community that's left now, there's very strong support for Frisky, and I think that's, means that we can just put that matter to bed. He's not leaving, so that's fantastic. And by the way, when he left LootSwap, his main thing was, there's a way that I think that decentralized finance should be done, and I want to do it this way. So I can't find what I'm looking for, so I want to build it myself. That's the thing that he's gone and done, and I love hearing his passion in the project, and I love hearing his ideas about what to do from here. So again, there was a lot of panic on Discord that followed, a lot of panic, some of which came from folk that had zero post history or very, very little invested in DeFi Kingdoms, which makes me think that some of them, and not necessarily the ones that I have screenshotted here, because I just grabbed some random screenshots, but some of them may have been shorting Harmony 1. And hence, the more panic they can put into the Joule community, the more Harmony 1 goes down. Because Harmony 1, Joule is built on Harmony 1, and Joule at that time was 33% of the total value locked on Harmony 1. So it does influence that price quite heavily. So, and that's one that you can short on, like Binance, KuCoin, most other exchanges, Harmony 1. So that, I believe, was a reason why there were some people with no post history just jumping in and posting stuff. And then they got other people, especially newer folk, who had just bought in, and then they see the price tanking, they got them to panic as well. And then you see all of these different, we're seeing memes, we're seeing people posting all this stuff about it going to zero and all of this stuff. And, I got called an idiot when I was saying that I'm buying in when it was $1.26 hit. And I'm like, I'm buying in, I'm buying quite a bit. And I got people that almost no post history are like, you're stupid. And what happened? Well, yeah, it might not prove to be the bottom. I don't know yet, but $1.26 hit. It stayed there for about 8 hours, and now it's, around $1.80. I also bought Crystal as well, and that's gone up quite a bit too. So, when people are panicking is often the time where the most money is actually made. People will say I'm lucky at some point, whether the bottom's here or whether the bottom's at 80 cents or whatever it is. When I catch the bottom and someday we're back up to some decent level and I've got a ton of Joule, people are going to say, oh, I was lucky. But it's not luck, because I started at a much higher level, but I used dollar cost averaging. So you never go all in. You look for the right discount, but you've got to research projects and make sure that you actually believe in them long term, and not just let market action and price be the determining factors. Now, there was also the mining exploit. That was part of this too. That was not dealt with quickly enough because it was first discovered a few months ago and it wasn't prioritized. It wasn't prioritized because the people exploiting it actually only exploited a tiny percentage of the mined total. But the sentiment was there that it wasn't dealt with fast enough, and a lot of people incorrectly thought that the reason the price was tanking was because these people mining, a lot, like some people might have 1 million unlocked Joule, and they were mining it at 6 times faster than everyone else can mine it, that they were just dumping it on the market. Even if they were, that still wasn't able to be enough to influence the price. It may have influenced it a smidgen, maybe 1%, 2%, but people taking money out of liquidity pools, though, that was the real cause of all the issues there with the price action. So all of the other stuff, the news, was a catalyst, okay? And then the fact was that the team going into this, none of them were wealthy, and there was no venture capitalist involved. And I think that was an issue that caused there to be a lack of support on the way down for the price. If someone was wealthy and had $1 million, they could have probably just started buying up a bunch and maintain the price, but clearly there was no support. So the bears, or the people that had a lot of Joule, were able to bear the price down and to either buy at a lower price, or perhaps they want to exit, but they were shorting Harmony 1 on the way down and, double dipping basically. So Luckily, though, the main whales and bears that I've seen actually now have less than 20% of their original position. So they've got very, very little left to sell. It's still maybe significant, but it's not the amount that they had. Like one whale I noticed had like $4 million worth of jewel and now has, I can't remember now. I mean, it might be like 500,000 left. It's a lot less than 4 million though. So that's great because yes, they've got something left, but it's not the same degree. I mean, early, it was either one whale or a bunch of whales were dumping jewel at an alarming rate, like 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, and at the same time, 10,000. They were just round numbers of jewel were just dumping. Even as people were looking to buy in, they were buying, trying to, but this wasn't just somebody trying to take profits. This was someone trying to push the price down, take advantage of the sentiment that's going on. Maybe they were even leading a bit of the fear and doubt campaigns over, hire a few people and get them in on the Discord groups and posting on Twitter. It does happen in crypto. It really does happen, and it can cause. Really, you're just getting it at a discount rather than worrying about, if you can put that to one side. But anyway, it caused. I know why I say that they're not just taking profits. Is because of the speed at which it was being done, even when it looked like there was support coming in. Decent support coming in, and we're starting to see these $10,000 buys and so forth coming in, and they didn't pause for a moment for the price to just come back up a bit so that they could, sell at a higher price like some bears might, so they could get more money. If they were more about taking profits, they would have been like, oh, there's a lot of support here. Let's just wait for it to go here and then we'll bear it down further. No, they just kept trying to sell it, push it through the wall until eventually it just keeps going down again. It was relentless. So, like I said, luckily they've got a lot less to play with that model, but I suggest if something did happen, they would try it again to see if they could get it back to $1.26 and maybe push through to another fib level down, like around 78 to 80 cents. They might try that, but I don't know. They might also be just happy with having shorted one. I don't really know what the thing is there. But like I say, they have less power and control now. Guys like me and other guys that bought at $1 are $1.26 are now, and regular players have now got in at lower prices, and I think that is fantastic. And long term, now that the price is lower and you're getting more new buyers coming in, and or the same players are now able to lower their average buy-in price, we may see it actually having more longevity than if this didn't happen. So this happened may be a good thing overall because it's more affordable now for regular folk to get in and play, and they're not the ones that are the whales that dump. It takes a big coordinated effort for that to happen as opposed to one person with millions worth. So I think that's a good thing. Okay, so there was also questions about whether or not the team can survive at the lower dual pricing. And sorry, my camera has just the card has just run out, so that's why I've stopped being on screen right now. So just in case you're wondering. So anyway, there are questions about whether the team can survive at the lower dual pricing, but they brought that up on the AMA yesterday, and they were saying, look, we discussed this, we priced this in, even if we went back to the original rates that Joule started at, it might have been 12 cents or something, like prior to it even being index screener. They said that they will be fine. They will still be fine and still be building, and they're still okay. So that was really good to know, because that was my concern too. Like, what happens if they just don't have enough money because they're clearly not wealthy, or I'm not saying they haven't made money from the game, but they're not as wealthy as I thought they might be, and that's why they couldn't easily support the price. Also, the main thing though overall was panic selling. And the final capitulation that happened over here, when it went from $2.04 to $1.26, so we held $2.04 for a few hours there. That final capitulation happened when one of the major YouTubers out there that has been supporting Joule just decided to post a video saying, I'm selling everything. I'm selling all my Joule. And I looked over when I saw that video pop up. I saw the price, and then I saw it dump within, maybe 30 minutes of it coming out. It was starting to dump. And then it dumped, and then it dumped really fast. And that was the fastest rate of dumping that went on. It just dumped so fast. And that's why I got called an idiot by somebody when I said I'm buying, when it was $1.26. I even bought some at $1.40 because I was, just a bit impatient. But most of it was $1.26. But what happened? I mean, it went near a duck and just stopped on the fib level and bounced. It was quite remarkable, really, when you think about it. I thought, it could slice through it, have to buy more at the next one, but luckily it didn't. But there are lots of reasons to be bullish about Joule. Lots of reasons to be bullish. Joule is used as a gas token on Crystal Vale, and yet we haven't even really started transactions there. Yes, we had a few transactions, some people adding liquidity, stuff like that. We've really not started, though. We haven't got people doing heroes and quests. The thousands and thousands of transactions, tens of thousands of transactions per day, with tokens and what have you. We haven't even started that on Crystal Vale yet, that we've got on Serendale. And yet we've already burnt like over 500 Joule. And I know that might not sound like much, but from so little transactions to burn 500 plus Joule already that was way more than I thought. It's 10 times more than I thought would have been burnt by now. So you were going to burn tens of thousands of Joule, hundreds of thousands over time of Joule. It's going to become deflationary because it's used as gas on the DFK chain. So we've got heroes and quests coming, but also other coins. People are going to arbitrage their price values because they exist on Harmony and they exist over on DFK chain, or they will do. And so people will use more transactions to get those prices to be similar, and they'll make money from the small 5% differences in price, but then they keep using Joule as gas. It keeps getting burnt. And if Crystal or Joule ends up on a major exchange, again, that will cause other price differences between the exchange and DFK, which causes more arbitrage opportunities, which causes more Joule to get burnt. And then when other coins are available on DFK chain so that people can buy into other liquidity pools, Phantom, Bitcoin, Solana, you name it, when all of those are on there, again, those coin prices will sometimes differ from that on the exchanges, and people will use those to arbitrage the price. And every time they do that, it burns Joule. So Joule is gas, absolutely brilliant. I don't think people understand how big that will be. Now, we haven't even had leveled quests come to Serendale yet. We haven't had player versus player. The pets component. We've got our eggs, but the pets have not even hatched yet, and they're only going to hatch once a year, so that's going to cause big price action during that time that they hatch, and it's going to cause the value of those pets to be high if they only hatch once a year. And then we haven't got renting of heroes yet. That was huge for Axie Infinity. When Axie Infinity added renting of heroes, so a renting of, they were able to get people that couldn't afford to buy one to be able to rent one for a very low price, but those people that had a bunch of heroes were able to rent them out and just make money from the rental fees, because that kind of added up. So, there's that as well. There is people that are diversified portfolio holders of layer ones. When we go into a Bitcoin bull run at some stage, and it could be 1 year away, it could be 2 years, it could be 5 months away. I don't really know. But when that happens, all the layer ones will go up in price a lot when it's clear that we're in a bullish phase. And that'll include Harmony One, because Harmony One has a lot of unique parts about it that other crypto doesn't have. Yes, there's a few that have low gas fees. It is certainly one of those. But it is one of the only ones now that can do smart contracts in the way that is needed for DeFi gaming to occur at a fast rate at very, very low gas prices, which enables it to be very affordable to carry on playing without it, burning your wallet in any way. The team transparency, I think, in this has been very, very good. And the fact that they have a weekly AMA that they run on YouTube, I think that is very bullish for the overall project. The fact that they didn't block people from voicing their concerns, they didn't just kick people out, they actually allowed, and maybe that was a bad thing in some ways, but they allowed all the fear and doubters, they allowed everyone to post. They were still in there, they could see what was going on, but they just let it go because they wanted to know what people's real concerns were, so that they were very transparent and they've answered everything. And I think that is very, very, very bullish for Joule in the long term. And not to forget, if DeFi gaming goes on its own bull run at some stage, which these things have their cycles, it will at some stage, and this will be one of the major, most built out dexes with the most functionality. When it goes on a bull run, people go to the ones that are the most built out. They're not going to go as much into the newer projects at that point when we're in a risk-on environment. That's the way to be risk-off, is to go into the ones that are more built out. So when this one's had more longevity in the market and we go on a bull run, it's going to go a lot higher at that point as well. But if you want to make 10x on your money, 10x, 100x, that might not be realistic, 100x, but if you are, you never know though, it's never impossible. But if you do want to make 10x, 20x on your money, it's very hard to do that buying when things are at the top. That's why I'm always aiming to figure out a way to dollar cost average to buy the bottom. Okay, so do your own research. Never go all in. Never go all in on one project. Never go all in on the project that you're going all in on. So you've got to stay safe with this stuff. But if you're already in the game, there are lots of reasons to be bullish. And these are, like I said, as I've covered in this video, these are the reasons why the price did drop in the first place. But we've got to bear in mind the macroeconomic factors. It's never impossible that there isn't a lower stake. So that's why you never go all in and you buy the bigger dips. Don't just look for 5% drops. Because if you're going to do that, you may as well be just doing Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you're looking at buying 5% dips and stuff like that, you're in this type of coin because you're hoping for more price action. Otherwise, what are you doing? You may as well go in the blue chips only. Okay, anyway, that's it from me. I'm interested to hear your comments. Like the video if you can. Thumbs down if you don't like it. And feel free to comment and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now, everybody.